Hey everyone, and welcome. So, picture this. You're in a shop in Japan, and it's full of all this incredible stuff. You want to ask about something, but how do you point to it with your words? It's a classic roadblock for pretty much every Japanese learner, but trust me, the solution is way simpler than you think, and we're going to break it all down right now. Right? Is it this thing in my hand, that thing over by you, or that one way over there on the shelf? In English, it can get a little fuzzy, but in Japanese, it's incredibly precise. You're about to learn a system that is so logical, you'll know exactly which word to use every single time. No more guessing. So, what's the big secret? It all comes down to something I call the simple proximity rule. And honestly, it's beautiful. The word you choose literally just depends on where the object is in relation to you, the speaker, and the person you're talking to, the listener. That's it. That's the whole system. Okay, so let's start with the first one, kore, pronounced kore. This is your word for anything that's physically close to you, the speaker. So if I'm holding this pen, I'd say, kore wa pen desu. It's in my space, it's near me, so it's kore. Simple as that. Next up, we have sore. Now this is where it gets really clever. It's all about a shift in perspective. If you were holding that same pen, I would now call it sore, because it's close to you, the listener. The word I use actually changes based on where you are. How cool is that? And finally, for anything that's far away from both of us, we use are. So imagine that pen was on a shelf all the way across the room, not near me, not near you. We would both look at it and call it are. It's in that neutral third space that's distant from our conversation. So, let's put it all together on one screen. Think of this as your master guide. Kore is for stuff near me, the speaker. Sore is for stuff near you, the listener. And are is for stuff that's far from both of us. If you can remember this one slide, you've basically got it. Now, let's see how this plays out in a real conversation. All right, theory is one thing, but practice is where it all clicks. So let's go back to that shop we were imagining and actually put these words to use. Okay, so you walk in and you pick up an item that catches your eye. It's in your hands, right? That means it's near you, the speaker. You turn to the shopkeeper and ask, "Kore wa ikura desu ka?" How much is this? You're using kore. Perfect. Now here's the magic. From the shopkeeper's perspective, where's the item? It's over there with you, the listener. So they're going to reply, "Sore wa 3,000 yen desu." That is 3,000 yen. See how that works? You say kore for the item in your hand, and they say sore for the exact same item. It's this dynamic little dance. Let's try a different scenario. You and a friend are hanging out, and you spot your pencil way over on a desk across the room. Since it's far away from both of you, you'd point and say, "Are wa watashi no enpitsu desu." That over there is my pencil. You both know exactly what are refers to. Okay, so you can point things out like a pro now, but what if you need to ask someone to pick something out of a group? What if you're not pointing but asking which one? For that, we need one last super important word. And that word is dore, pronounced dore. This is your question word. It means which one. You use it while you're looking at a bunch of options, like a whole rack of shirts or a box of donuts, and you need to ask someone to identify a specific one out of the group. Now listen up, because this is a spot where people sometimes get mixed up, but the difference is actually really simple. Are is a statement. You're pointing to one specific thing that's far away. But dore is always a question. You're asking someone to choose one item from a group. Statement versus question. That's the key. For example, imagine you're at the airport baggage claim. There are dozens of similar-looking black suitcases rolling by. You turn to your friend and ask, "Dore ka anata no kaban desu ka?" Which one is your bag? You're asking them to pick their one specific bag out of all those options. All right, you've seen the rules, you've seen the examples. I think you've got this. So it's time to put that knowledge to the test and really make it stick. Ready for a quick quiz? Let's do it. Okay, first one. The sentence ends with ke, which clues us in that it's a question. Marka is my phone. Let's say there are a few phones on the table and you're asking someone to identify yours. Which word fits in the blank? And the answer is dore? Dore ga watashi no keitai desu ka? Which one is my phone? Because you're asking to identify one item from a group, you've got to use dore. Nicely done. Let's try another. This sentence means, is expensive, isn't it? Now, for this one, imagine the thing you're talking about is far away from both you and the person you're with, like a car across the street. What goes in the blank? It has to be, are wa takai desu ne. You're both looking at something in the distance and making a comment. Since it's far from both of you, are is the only word that works. See? It's all about that proximity.
Okay, time to switch it up. A full translation. There's a cup full of pens on the table in front of you. You need to ask your friend, which one is your pen? How would you say that in Japanese? Take a sec.
And the correct translation is, どれがあなたのペンですか? You're using dore because you're asking which one from a group of pens. Simple, direct, perfect. All right, one last challenge. This time it's a statement, not a question. And the computer is right there next to you, the speaker. How do you say, this is my computer?
Of course it is. これは私のコンピューターです. The computer is right there in your personal space, so it has to be これ. You nailed it.
And just like that, you've totally cracked the code. You've taken a concept that can seem really confusing at first and turned it into a simple, logical tool you can use every day. You now know how to point, identify, and ask about anything around you with confidence. So I guess the only question left is, now that you know where things are, what are you going to ask for next? Thanks for joining me.